Episode 131, Back Dat Backup Up. Hey, this is Daniel.
And this is Nate, and you're listening to the Visionary Variety Podcast. This week we'll be talking about the importance of backups, our hard drive failure stories, and how to recover lost data.
All right, well, let's get to it.
Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So switch on your brain and enjoy the show.
All right, so this episode was birthed out of a blood pressure raising situation that I encountered just yesterday. It was really scary. I lost my second hard drive in my laptop. So what happened is I was on a Zoom call with three other students. I was teaching Photoshop, and it was going great. They can see my Photoshop. I was doing a share screen. Everything's rocking and rolling. Until Photoshop freezes. My mouse is not even moving, which is not normal. Usually when Photoshop freezes, it goes gray or not responding, and I can still move my mouse, but my mouse wouldn't move. And I couldn't, no one was talking, no one was responding to me on the Zoom call, and everything had frozen. It wasn't just Photoshop. After I was like, oh, I don't think they can actually even hear me. Like, everything is totally frozen. This is not just Photoshop. And my computer won't do anything. I can't respond. I can't control it. So I just powered it off with the power button, brought it back up, and I'm, going to go open Photoshop to continue where I left off. And Photoshop's icon is like grayed out. There's no Photoshop. And I go to my computer, and there's no D drive. D drive is my second hard drive.
What?
So the way that I have my laptop set up is the D drive is my second hard drive. It's like a 9600 revolution speed hard disk drive, so it's really fast. My main drive, which is C, where my operating system is, that's a solid state drive. So it's fast, reading, writing, everything opens fast, everything boots really fast. So but that's small. So my second hard drive is bigger. It's like, I think it's just 1 terabyte, and it was gone. It was not visible. I couldn't see it. Nothing. And the problem with that is that everything is on the D drive that I use. So all my Adobe programs are installed onto the drive. All my photography and Blender and like everything I really do creative is on that drive.
Clear.
It was, I'm just going to fall backwards and just die right here. So it was scary. So I managed to finish the lesson on Zoom by having the other students share their screen, and I would guide them, and as well as, tell people what to do. So that was crazy. So it was a very interesting class, but I managed to pull it off. And afterwards, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what do I do? Like, where did my hard drive go? Did it totally fail? Did it like short out?
It went to shelter in place.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when a hard drive goes down. And when I looked it up online, like almost all I could find was like Windows 10 update stuff and hard drive disappearing after Windows 10 update. I didn't care about that because that wasn't my situation. So that night I restarted my computer just out of, just doing the basic stuff. Windows, you always restart, and it came back. So I got very lucky.
Yeah, you did.
And after that point, I was like, why have I been so lazy with my backups? I used to do it very regularly, about once a week. And I just stopped, with the virus and everything, just kind of things have slowed down. Well, photography has slowed down, but content creation has like sped up. I've been making 3D stuff like crazy. I've been making YouTube videos, all kinds of other stuff outside of my photography. And so I was really saying, why, like if this truly failed, I would have lost quite a few months of a lot of quality content that is money stuff.
Yeah.
Like, would have been making me money. I had maybe 1 or 2 projects that is a paid job, and it would have been really bad. So that's kind of where this episode's coming out of, is my heart attack yesterday.
Clear. And
I don't want you guys listening out there. I don't want this to happen to you guys. I don't want you to lose your stuff out of laziness or ignorance. So one of the things we're going to be talking about this episode, like we said earlier, is backups, the importance of it, how to do it, different ways to do it, and how not to do it. I think this is going to be a really good one for all kinds of people out there, not just photographers or videographers. You have any kind of job really that has to do with computer use and you have files, you need to have them backed up somewhere. Even if it's Google Drive, hey, that will work. If you got small files, that'll do just fine.
Unless the internet goes down.
And yeah, that's true. There you
Yeah.
go. There's always downsides to each backup method. So it's actually good to have multiple. So you have what's called redundancy. We'll get to that later. So I just shared my kind of nightmare story. Nate, have you had anything like that happen where you lost a hard drive or, went bad or anything like that?
I lost the project because I thought I backed it up elsewhere and got lazy and lost not my personal project for somebody, but through somebody else's company.
Yikes.
And I was sweating. I was sweating big time.
When money's on the line, it's really scary.
Oh yeah, and I dig through my computer. I learned techniques I didn't even know computers could do. Like I was going in like back doors, and my dad started off in his career with computers, so he's like, "Oh yeah, you just do this," and I was like, "It's not here, it's not here." And so I just had to bite the bullet and be like, "It's gone." I gotta tell the guy. I gotta tell him it's gone.
Ooh.
And so that was hard, dude. I think this was a while back, but dude, I think I even came and saw you at a coffee shop. I was like, "Do you have any idea?" And you're like, "Did you try this?" I was like, "Done." "Did you try this?" "Done." I was like,
yes.
I was desperate for help because I was like, it is literally gone. All 12 hours worth of a wedding is gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that memory of those people's lives have been formatted.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about redundancy. So redundancy is basically having multiple copies of the same data in different formats, in different locations. The more variety you have, the safer you are. It's like a bigger and stronger net to catch you in case something falls through, which could be totally not your fault. It could be an accident. It could be weather. It could be theft. It could be an accident. All kinds of things can cause you. Yeah, kids. Oh man. There can be so many things that can cause something to go wrong, and most of them have nothing to do with you doing a mistake.
Yeah.
So when it's not your fault, you can still be covered, which is a great thing if you are diligent. If you're not lazy like we were, and if you have a system set up to be regular about your backups and you have more redundancy. So here's 3 reasons why you need multiple copies. The first one is the most obvious and the most prevalent issue is hard drive failure. So hard drives are not really made to last very long. Maybe they're made to last, but the truth is in the numbers. The statistics show that hard drives, your typical consumer hard drive, will last an average of 5 to maybe 7 years.
Dude, that's not cool.
If it's taken care of. Yeah, that's not cool if you got money making stuff on there. And if you use it more often, say every day, that life is way shorter, maybe 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So hard drives are not great. They're very risky. They hold all the things we hold dear and make money off of or just have fun with, but they're not very long lasting. And we need to take steps to prevent, us getting the short end of the stick of that. Hard drive failure happens most often with traditional hard disk drives, which means there's actually a disk inside there spinning. There's actually a little arm that's motorized and moving back and forth super fast with
turntable.
Yeah, it does, or a CD almost.
Yeah,
and so there's a little head that moves in and out that reads the data from the disk. That's called a moving part. It's mechanically moving.
Yeah, if you want to have a fun thing, you just plug it in and put your ear real close so you can hear it start to move.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So moving parts means higher probability of failure because a failure now could not just be electrical, but it could be mechanical. One part could jam up, break,
gosh,
get
dude,
corroded.
Just thinking about all this stuff,
giving you anxiety.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So that's the first reason why you need to take care of your backups and have multiple copies. Second reason is theft and or loss. So, there's bad people out there that would love to grab your laptop when you're not looking or, rip off that USB drive when you're in the bathroom at Starbucks and see what they can get out of it. You just don't know.
Yeah, there's no way of locking it either. So
that's true. Yeah, hard drives. I think there are some that have a code, and those are you pay for it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not cheap, but cool idea. Then of course there's losing things. We all lose our devices and stuff every now and then.
Yeah.
My family just went on a family vacation to South Padre, and we got home and we could not find the tablet. My wife was sure that it fell out of the door when she got in. And after thinking about it for a while, we were actually kind of glad we lost it because the kids play their games incessantly on that tablet. And we were just like, oh, this is kind of nice, There's no more tablet.
Oh no, what
great.
happened? Oh no, it's gone.
Yeah. Oh dear, I'm so sad, so sorry. The kids were not having a great time. We were kind of giggling under our breath.
Yeah, you're like, whew.
But then we found it.
Oh no. Well,
and
we tried.
Like, mixed feelings.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's the second reason. The third reason you need to pay attention and be diligent about backups and redundancy is a terrible thing called cryptoware. This is every IT's nightmare.
Yeah.
Based off the root word encryption or encrypted data. And what happens is when a cryptoware virus gets onto your computer, it will encrypt all of the data on all the files and folders. Windows will still work, but every single program file, every single picture file, everything is encrypted with ridiculous level of encryption that literally the CIA cannot even break.
Awesome.
Yeah. Normal encryption is like 32-bit, 64-bit. I think the government uses 128 and even 256-bit to like super deeply encrypt data. This is encrypted at 2048-bit encryption. And I think maybe 1024, but super like ridiculously high levels where even the thefts cannot decrypt it unless with a specific key. So all your data gets encrypted, which means you cannot open it, you cannot read it, you cannot use any of the data on your computer anymore unless you pay the ransom.
I know, like hostage.
Yes, it literally is holding your data hostage until you pay with Bitcoin, mind you.
No.
Whatever amount. It could be $300 worth of Bitcoin. It could be thousands. There was a police station here in Texas that got cryptowared. And because all their drives were connected through the network, it all got encrypted. Even the like evidence, files, criminal records, everything. Scary.
It makes you want to unplug everything all the time.
Yes. And we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And you know what the ransom was? It was over $1 million. And they paid it.
Wow.
They probably used state money.
Mm-hmm. Then they use crypto, right?
Well, when you pay the money, the theft program is programmed to automatically give you the decryption key, which is like this really long random string of numbers that no program can ever guess. And you put that in and it reverses all the encryption.
Wow.
So that's cryptoware.
What a nightmare.
So I have heard more positive endings to this story where someone's hard drive got cryptowared, but they were good about backups and they said, well, that's not a big deal. I have the exact same data on this other hard drive over here that I did yesterday or last week. And sure, I might lose a few days worth of work, but it's not a big deal. I'm not going to pay the fee. I'm not going to pay this, ransom money. I'm just going to plug in my old hard drive and, just kind of start back where I was back then. Now, if you don't have that backup, you are out of luck. You either just have to lose everything and be okay with starting over or pay the ransom. So backups will save you. They will save your life from cryptoware. So let's talk about different backup options that, we have available to us on the market today.
Yeah, actually, I use single external drive, which is USB plug-in. And that's actually what I use to back up all my stuff with. It's just, you can unplug it and it's off. Mm-hmm. It's a dumb hard drive. So
these hard drives are great because they're very affordable. You can get these for anywhere from $50 to $100. You can get them in 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte sizes and up if you want to pay more. They're very affordable and they're portable. They're small, about as big as your wallet.
The SSD versions of this are actually the size of probably half your wallet now.
Nice. Yeah, the SSD is even smaller because there's no disk. So you're right. Now you're going to pay more for the SSD, but it's faster and it's smaller. And if you drop it, it probably won't break. Probably. So yeah, the single hard drive system is just the most common and affordable. You just pay for one drive, at the end of each day or at the end of each week, or maybe on your birthday, whatever date your birthday is on, that day of every month is your backup day. Just something easy to remember.
Yeah.
And you sit down and you say, okay, I'm cutting out 30 minutes of my schedule to do this very important task. I need to back up everything I've done in the past week or so and make sure it's all there when you're done. So that's just one hard drive. The next method of backing up is called a RAID drive or a RAID array of hard drives. RAID is basically when you have multiple hard drives plugged into maybe a housing or a shell, and they operate as actually one single, synchronous hard drive. So when you plug in that USB cord, you have one drive, maybe D or E or H or whatever shows up. But inside the housing that, is giving you the storage is actually multiple hard drives. It could be 2, it could be 12 or 16. I don't even know how big they get. I have one that has 4 slots. Now, the benefit of having multiple hard drives operate together as one hard drive is redundancy, all in one place. So when I drop my files onto my E drive, which is my RAID storage, it copies that exact same file across all the hard drives that I have inserted into that housing. Now, why is that good? Well, because if one hard drive fails, which they inevitably will at random times in their hard drive life, all the others have the exact same data. So I'm still good. I've got 3 other copies that, the chance of them all going bad at the same day is astronomically high. Like that would just not happen. But one of them going bad within this next coming year, that's a high chance. But the other copies have the same data, so I'm safe. Now, RAID is interesting because there's a bunch of different modes you can set your RAID hard drive to. I think there's 10 or maybe 8 of them, and they all have different methods of copying your data that honestly, I'll be totally transparent. I don't understand how the RAID methods work. They're very kind of complex and you have to know stuff about bits and bytes and data that I don't know. So if you're curious about that, go to Wikipedia. It explains them all. And it was like reading Greek to me. So I like RAID 1 because RAID 1 copies all your data 100% across all the drives. I feel like that's the most safe, the most redundant, and I like it. I can sleep good at night knowing that I've got about 5 copies of my data.
Yeah.
The next common mode of kind of mass storage is NAS or NAS. NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. And this is basically when let's say you're in a workplace or a school, and there are servers with hard drives attached to them, and everyone with a computer that's online on the local network of that workplace or office or school, they can actually access these hard drives through the network. So these hard drives are not plugged into your computer like the previous ones we mentioned. They're actually plugged into the network, and you can get the data, read and write to and from it through the network connection. And this is only for the local area network that you're plugged into. So it's it's a small closed circuit. It's safe, unless of course someone hacks into your network and cryptowares them. So NAS is cool. You can do this at home. You can plug in a hard drive to your Wi-Fi router and be able to access that, as a network storage.
So it's very handy when you have like a group of people you're working with as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like just a cloud service that you can go, I can tap into that. You have access now. Like, sweet.
Yeah, your own personal cloud. There's actually Wi-Fi hard drives you can buy where you log in through Wi-Fi and you can get files to and from the hard drive just over your wireless network. So you don't ever actually have to plug it into your computer, which is just good for convenience. Because, you don't always have room to, like, say on your couch, if you're working from there, to just have a hard drive hanging off the side of your laptop. That makes me super nervous when I've got stuff connected. I don't like that feeling.
No.
So, yeah, there you go. So network attached storage is great for groups and not plugging stuff in and being able to access it anywhere in a local area network.
Yeah. And so we were talking about online, and there's also an online service you told me about today, which I didn't know, but I do know about this stuff, and it's called Backblaze, I believe.
Yeah.
And dude, it's one of the coolest things I've heard is you can basically, I think it's a monthly fee. We don't know. I heard $5. I think that's what you said. But you can basically have this service, upload, and you can select the files and folders you want to upload, go to sleep, depending on how fast your internet is. By the time you get back to your computer, you either be done or still uploading. But just the fact that you can upload it and walk away on an online service is super cool.
There's a lot of online services now that are offering this kind of backup, which is got really popular because, again, you're not connecting to anything. You don't have, the best part about it is that your storage is not actually in your home. So in case of fire, flood, theft, losing it, kids, whatever, you won't lose your hard drive. You can't destroy it or it gets stolen because it's on a safe, secure site. There's actually 4 locations apparently that Backblaze has that I'm sure they have identical copies of all the data.
They're basically running a NAS.
Yeah, basically through the web. Now this company has hundreds of thousands of hard drives. It's crazy how many hard drives they have that's storing everyone's files. And I don't know if there's a storage limit or how that works. Probably just...
they're pretty confident to put that kind of info out. So the fact that they're willing to share that, I'm like, yeah, you guys have a very thick wall making sure that nobody gets in.
Yeah, I'm sure they got top of the line security. So Backblaze is a really good, popular option. I know a lot of photographers use it because after they finish their shoots for the day, they leave their computer on at night, and there's a scheduled program that opens and it starts uploading the new files you've added to your
That's so
local hard
cool.
drive. It adds them to the online version, and you can, because this is online, say on Backblaze's website or whoever you use, you can log into the website, say on your phone or someone else's computer, and you can get those files if you need them, which is really great for you need to send something you forgot or whatever. So that's it for the main backup options. Again, we have one hard drive plugged in through USB. You've got a RAID hard drive, which is multiple operating as one. You've got NAS, which is a network hard drive. And you've got online backup services to automatically upload and keep up to date with all your new files in your hard drive. The benefit of that is it's just all automated. You don't really have to do a whole lot.
And as of this recording right now, just looking here, it says $6 a month, $60 per year, $110 for 2 years.
Nice.
So as of now, that's what the cost is.
Is there a storage limit or any limitations to that?
I'm not seeing that here, but
if it doesn't say it, it probably isn't.
They say unlimited backup, so I guess you could try to get the limit, but I don't think they're afraid of some big files coming through.
Y'all get an email. Sir, you're filling up too much of our hard drives with everything. Please stop.
Somebody did the math and it says it's about 5 cents per gig a month. Wow. Okay.
Interesting. I believe I said this earlier, but making your backup schedule a regular thing is basically what makes all this work. If you start to get slack or get distracted or, start planning other things to take up that time that you need, you're going to regret it when something goes south. Whether you lose your hard drive, something gets stolen or whatever, you don't have those regular backups. Your backup drive that you have sitting on your shelf is out of date and it's not going to help you. So you got to do it regularly. First of the month, on your birthday date every month, on your off day. I don't know. It's up to you, but the more regular it is, the better. And it's important that you stick to it. So here's a question that I've thought of literally for like over a decade is, do I really need to eject that thumb drive or that hard drive before I unplug the USB cord?
I did a little bit of homework on this, but it says no matter what computer you have, if it's a Mac or a Windows, by unplugging it without safely ejecting it, you can cause serious problems, such as an external hard drive not being recognized, lost data, corrupt systems, crashing. I was like, oh.
Dang.
So, but
I guess they weren't kidding.
No, but that's the thing is I've had hard drives not thinking I pulled, they still work. But then I've had hard drives that I really, really, really used a lot and people were just unplugging left and right. No eject. That hard drive actually crashed and there was some kind of important stuff on there. They were able to get it back. With whatever happened, they were not able to replace. They just replaced the hard drive instead of giving me the old one back with all my stuff back on it.
Interesting. They transferred it.
So
yeah, so get back on that habit that we all did in the early 2000s when we thought this would break stuff. Start ejecting your hard drives again.
Well, I don't see why that's relevant. Outside of having a project open, you should just be able to unplug and plug, just like you do with a mouse or keyboard. But I guess since you're processing information over, like a keyboard is just signal and some information, nothing like a hard drive. I guess that makes sense. I guess I just answered my own question.
Well, there's processes in the background that are going on that you don't know about and you don't have control over that are reading and writing data to and from your thumb drive or your hard drive.
That's true.
So because of that, just any bits and bytes going back and forth, if you interrupt that, that's where corrupted files happen, corrupted partitions, and other things will start going bad.
And it doesn't play a favor. It's if you have a external drive, it doesn't matter. The same situation happens, even though there's moving parts here, which I guess that makes sense. We're just unplugging and the information is not knowing to stop writing and you're just interrupting. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, eject them all. Doesn't matter what you got.
Speaking of unplugging, I wouldn't leave them plugged in. There's a great way for someone to cryptoware your stuff and hold all your files for ransom. That's just nasty. So, but the other thing is like in the hard drives, when the moving parts, there's electricity. What if you have a power outage? What if there's a storm? People say be careful with your computer because it can fry. Well, if it misses your computer and goes through the computer into your hard drive,
bye.
It's done. That's all she wrote. Literally.
When you're done backing stuff up, or when you're done working from your active, let's say you have a hard drive that just has stuff on there you're working on right now. Like you don't store your videos or your photos on your computer. You put it on a working drive. When you're done working on that stuff, unplug it. Not only just for cryptoware, but also to maintain the lifespan of that drive. Because like you said, electricity is going through things. And that is slowly ticking away at the mileage on that drive. So to keep it fresh, just unplug it when you're not using it.
I just made a habit. I'm like, you need to eject. And they're like, why? I was like, well, first off, that's going to save your hard drive. Plus, you don't want to leave that plugged in and leave it alone for what we're saying. Just make it a habit because you never know when it's going to rain and you never know when a power outage is going to happen.
Yeah, you can't control those things.
No.
So just prepare for them.
And dude, speaking of prepare, I've not been good at this at all. And I'm glad we're actually going to be talking about this is labeling. I suck at this. I've not labeled any of my hard drives, which is not a good.
Y'all look the same.
Probably after this episode, I'm going to go find a marker and some tape, but whatever. Label your stuff. And I think you said this earlier, which is a great idea, is look at the very start of the first file you have and the very end, like the very last one you have. So I guess you can sort them by date and write the start and end date of everything. And that's actually a great idea for you to know everything that's on that hard drive and you can store it away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When you're looking through them, years down the road, you know exactly when this hard drive was used and what might be on it.
It's kind of like pulling out a cassette.
Yeah. It would be cool if there's a program that could open a hard drive, scan all the files, and save all the file names and data as like a database, so that later you could have like a really big database that contains this data from like 10 different hard drives over the years, and you can search the database and be like, oh, this folder is on hard drive 3, and you go pick it up and you get it. That would be pretty cool. I
mean, I guess the workaround is have an Excel file.
Oh, yeah. You want to type in all your file names? Nope.
I have friends do that. But, I mean, come on. You do an Excel file on all the stuff you got going on, too. So
I do. I can figure it out.
To each his own,
I'm sure someone out there's made like an automated file scanning tool to record. So the last tip for best practices concerning your hard drives is to keep them stored in a climate-controlled room. I mean, that could be in your closet. That's better than being out in your shed or in a storage unit that's just hot, cold, hot, cold.
I mean, you could put it out there.
You sure can, but
but it might not work.
If you wanted to keep working, yeah. Humidity and heat is another thing that can really take a toll on hard disk drives, and I'm sure solid state drives too. Just not good. So keep them in a safe, temperature controlled room. And heck, if you can, keep some other ones stored somewhere else, like at your parents' house or your I don't know, best friend's house, somewhere else.
Time capsule.
Yeah, a time capsule in the backyard. Dig it up and bear it every week.
That'd be kind of extra, but kind of cool.
Over the top.
It was you talking about the guy that freezes his hardware.
Yeah, this dude was talking. I think it was on a podcast, and he said that when he gets a new laptop he's not going to use yet, or a piece of hardware like a board or a hard drive, he will actually put it in his freezer and freeze it. And that just kind of blew my mind. This guy was very intelligent. He is a computer expert for decades, and this guy put stuff in his freezer to freeze it. And I just was like, what are you doing?
Could you imagine being the friend or family coming, all right, sorry, what are we having tonight? Oh, there's computers in here. What's up?
Yeah. You get hard drive, you get a graphics card, motherboard soup. So that was strange. I need to find that. Look that guy up and see if I can find it again, because it was pretty wild.
Or just see if there's other people in the world doing it.
Yeah, is that a thing? Freezing stuff? So let's close out the episode by talking about how to recover files if you've lost them. And this is kind of another one of those nightmare situations I had a few years ago. I had someone record me doing photo shoots, and they were actually making a documentary. So I was giving them footage that I had already from my pictures and things like that to use in the documentary. So I transferred their files, and everything was good. And at the end, I right-clicked on my hard drive, letter. I think it was like D. And I clicked format, and I said, would you like to format this hard drive? And I clicked yes.
No. Oh, no.
And then a split second later, I realized what I was doing was a mindless task that I do all the time at my other day job.
You went on autopilot.
Yes, I was totally on autopilot, and I formatted it. And as the format bar progressed into 1%, I freaked out. I was like, no, because this was my RAID. This is my RAID hard drive. So there's 3 hard drives in there with like 10 years worth of work on them. And I hit cancel faster than anyone's ever hit cancel.
Shut her down.
Yeah. So I canceled it, and I went back to the hard drive. It was blank. Nothing was visibly listed, right? No files folders.
Back to what I was saying. Clear.
Yeah, exactly. So I instead of freaking out though, I actually I knew if I had a few tricks up my sleeve. I had learned that when you format something, the files are not actually gone. The index, which is like this hidden file system that shows the operating system where the files are stored on the hard disk drive, that's the index. It's like an address book. That is what is deleted. The files and the bits of your files are actually still there. They're just not indexed. They're not addressed yet. So I got this free data recovery program called Recuva. It's spelled Recuva, Recuva. And it was free with, I think, the SD cards at the time. If you bought them from a certain brand, it has a serial number. So you could download the software, put in the serial number you got on the, the SD card packaging, and you had it. It was really cool. I still have it now. So I said, okay, let's give this a try. So I opened up Recuva. I chose my RAID drive and I clicked like scan or whatever. And it took all night. It took, I think, 10 hours. Like I started in the evening and I woke up in the morning. It was finally done. And it had all my files listed there, ready to recover. So I clicked recover. And it said, where would you like to place these files? And I'm thinking, what? Put them back on the hard drive. They're already there, right? So I found out you can't. You actually have to put it in a new hard drive somewhere that has enough room. So I went to the store and bought another hard drive, like a cheap, 2 terabyte one. And which I still have. I plugged it in and I chose to recover the files to the new drive that I just bought, the little one. And that took another like 6 hours, but I got it all back.
Wow.
And it was
that was a nice card up your sleeve.
Yeah. So I'm glad I learned that about formatting.
Yeah.
That the files are not truly gone. And here's an exception to that rule is let's say you accidentally formatted your hard drive or you formatted your SD card in your camera on location, but you use that storage again, like you start writing new pictures to that card, or I put more files onto that, supposedly blank hard drive. That's where you go wrong. So now there's new files on the hard drive that have a new index or an address written to them, and you have overwritten the previous bits that were there. And that's when you really lose stuff, is when you overwrite. So here's my rule. If you accidentally format a card or drive, don't use it. Don't put anything on it until you have successfully done a recovery software, move the files off, double check them, put them, somewhere else. Then you can use it again and write stuff to it. Because you will overlap stuff and you will for real lose the files. So it's always good to have that program on hand. The one I use was Recuva. There's a bunch of others out there, and you never know. And maybe you can do it for somebody else and charge them a little money. Like, hey, I'll fix your hard drive for $50. Make some money off of it. Someone out there, that's your next coronavirus hustle.
Those people out there can unclench their teeth and stop sweating and stop having a little bit of anxiety on this episode. It's coming to an end. Now you know.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully you learned a few things. If you guys have anything to add to this concerning hard drives, methods, different types of systems you use to back up your things, we would love to hear back from you guys. You can email us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com, or even better, comment publicly on our social media posts, preferably Facebook, because that's where all of us always are. So you can find that on Facebook as the Visionary Variety Podcast. Same goes for Instagram, YouTube, and any other podcasting app you're using. We're on all of them. So you can find us anywhere to check out the previous episodes and listen to lots of good stuff we've talked about in the past. Well, thank you for listening to this one, and we hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
If you like this show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. You can also find our previous episodes there and listen whenever you want. We love to hear from our listeners, so if you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, you can reach us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and have a great week.